Rainbow Magic, Phobe, the Fashion Fairy. Chapter 1, Birthday Trouble. Kirsty Tate and Rachel Walker were busy wrapping a birthday present for Kirsty's friend, Charlotte. "There," said Kirsty, tying the ribbon. "Charlotte's going to love this silver hairband. It's so pretty. Are you nearly ready, girls?" Mrs. Tate called up the stairs. "Dad and I have to leave in 2 minutes." "Just coming, Mom," Kirsty replied. Then she turned to Rachel. "I can't believe we're going to another party. Can you?" she grinned. Rachel shook her head. "I wonder what's going to happen this time," she said excitedly. The two girls shared a secret. They were friends with the fairies, and while Rachel had been staying with Kirsty's family, the girls had been helping the party fairies of Fairyland. Grumpy Jack Frost had sent his goblin servant into the world to cause trouble at human parties. When a party fairy arrived to put things right, a goblin would try to steal her magical party bag and take it back to Jack Frost. Rachel and Kirsty had been helping the fairies keep their party bags safe, which meant that all the parties that week had been especially exciting. Kirsty and Rachel put their party dresses into a bag with Charlotte's presents, then rushed downstairs. Kirsty's parents had to go out that afternoon, so Mrs. Tate had arranged for the girls to go to Charlotte's house a little early. "We've met nearly all the party fairies now," Kirsty said, as she and Rachel walked along the road. Rachel counted them off on her fingers: Cherry the cake fairy, Melody the music fairy, Grace the glitter fairy, Honey the sweet fairy, and Polly the party fun fairy, she said. "So the only two we haven't met are Phoebe the fashion fairy and Jasmine the present fairy," Kirsty put in. "I wonder if we will see one of them today." Rachel couldn't help smiling as they walked up Charlotte's front path. "I expect so," she said. "Those goblins won't be able to resist another chance to try and get a magical party bag, one of them in bond to cause trouble, and then Phoebe or Jasmine will have to come and set things right." The girls knew that Jack Frost had sent his goblins to steal the party bags because he wanted to use fairy magic at a party of his own. It was to rival the Fairy King and Queen's Surprise Jubilee party, which had been organized by the fairy godmother for the end of the week. Kirsty and Rachel had both been invited to Jubilee celebrations as special guests. They were determined to make sure that Jack Frost and his goblins didn't spoil everything by stealing the party fairy's party magic. Kirsty rang the doorbell, and a few moments later Charlotte answered the door. "Happy birthday!" cried Kirsty and Rachel together, but then Kirsty noticed how sad her friend was looking. "Is everything all right?" she asked in concern. Charlotte didn't seem to be in a birthday mood. She wasn't wearing a party dress, and she wasn't even smiling. "No," she wailed. "Everything is not all right. My best dress has been ruined." "Ruined?" Rachel echoed. "How?" Charlotte held the front door open. "Come upstairs and see," she said miserably. Kirsty and Rachel gasped. when they saw Charlotte's white and gold party dress hanging on her wardrobe door. It had messy splotches of what looked like green paint all over it. "Oh no," Kirsty gasped. "How did that happen?" Charlotte looked close to tears. "I don't know," she said. "This morning it was perfectly clean." Charlotte's mom, Mrs. Engel, came in. Her mouth fell open when she saw Charlotte's spoiled dress. "Charlotte!" she exclaimed. "You haven't been painting in your best dress, haven't you?" "No," Charlotte cried. "I just came upstairs and find it like this." Mrs. Engel frowned. "I hope your brother hasn't had anything to do with it," she said, and marched over to open the window. "Well," she called down the curtain, "come here at once." Charlotte's little brother Will scampered into the bedroom a few moments later. He was covered in mud and looking very pleased with himself. "I found loads of worms," he told the girls happily, brandishing a small muddy spade. "Well, your sister's party is starting soon," Mrs. Ingle groaned. "You were supposed to be getting ready." Will glanced over at Charlotte. "Well, Charlotte isn't ready yet, and it's her party," he protested. Speaking of which, Mrs. Ingalls went on, "Do you know anything about this?" She showed Will Charlotte's pretty dress, and he shook his head vigorously. "I've been in the garden all morning," he insisted. Charlotte nodded. "It's true, Mom," she said. "I saw him." Mrs. Engel sighed. "Well, I suppose the dress must have brushed against something," she said, looking baffled. Rachel and Kirsty glanced around the room uneasily. They were both wondering if the dress really had brushed against something, or if somebody had ruined it deliberately. Both girls knew it was just the sort of thing a goblin would do, and the green paint on the dress was an unmistakable goblin green. Rachel caught Kirsty's eyes and realized that they were both thinking the same thing. A goblin must be hiding somewhere very nearby.